Hi, y'all. Welcome to HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. My name's Edna Dufresne, and I want to take a moment, if I may, to remind you to like and subscribe, support the show, and do stuff, because we got to make sure this commie bastard stays on the air so he can destroy the country from the inside out, because he does not understand how important our president, Donald James Trump, is to the world and everything. So make sure you keep him up here so we can keep mining him for clips to prove that y'all are fucking crazy. Okay. And Trump gabbered 1924. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. I don't know why I'm doing that. I feel like the only way I'm ever going to do ads for the show where I remind people to like and subscribe is if I do it in character, because I find it so bizarre to do in person. So anyways, hi. I just got back from the gym, so I'm still in my shiny, smelly shirt. I'm just stinking up the show this week. That's the goal. I'm just in every possible way. So lots to cover today, not the least of which is, I don't know if you know this. So all that stuff you've heard about the Ukrainians winning and the Russians losing and Putin being sick and all that, that's all just manufactured by the globalist elites. Spelled Joos. And so those folks, that's what they want you to think. And you suckers are buying it, man, because you don't even know how to see the truth that's right in front of you. Now, there have been people throughout the last decade, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, and I think that I can, who have been telling you about this, warning you, if every single day of their lives, just screaming to the point where they've lost their voice. Though some might think it was acid reflux, nay, it was screaming and raging at the heavens, at the dying of the light that is American freedom, spelled Freedumb. And those folks, they at one point they had your ear. They could reach out and do everything in their power to reach your ear holes, and it didn't take much. They were on radio stations, they had their own channel, and yet some of them fall. They fall so far and find themselves on Diamond and Silk, on Lindell TV. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it looks like when you lose $1 billion in court and no one gives a fuck. You end up as a guest on any show that will just say Alex Jones was right. Now, this chyron looks like I made it up. But no, this was actually on their show. Is that Diamond and Silk mixed together? Is that what that graphic is? I don't know. Anyways, that's Diamond and Silk's hair, I guess. All right. So Alex Jones is right. And We Are Living in Tyranny is the name of this little ditty. Little ditty by Diamond and Silk, hanging out with shitty people just like their ilk. Do. All right. So here we go. It's probably gonna be an ad. Sorry about this. I can skip this ad. And do you want to say? Do you want Donald Trump to be president? No. Free gift to all answer. I'm not sure.
First thing I want to apologize to you, Mr.
Yes, apologize to Alex Jones on behalf of the parents of the kids killed at Sandy Hook. Go for it, Silk.
Alex Jones.
Oh, no.
Because at the beginning of everything, one thing we didn't understand was the media. Right. Okay?
Yes. This is like a crafted video. This isn't even like their normal just kind of hangout. This is he's been giving them lessons in mind control propaganda videos.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
The media
Isn't that the Sinclair link up?
put a lot of different nuggets and
Not nuggets.
propaganda and labels out there and they tell us what those labels mean, and we tend to believe them because that's all we see or that's all we saw. But now as we go through this,
Jesus Christ, like, ease up. I'm not convinced. I'm a little dizzy, but I'm not convinced. Also, the media does this? Hey, fuckhead, that's what he does all the time. Also, thank you for squashing his head so that it looks like an ostrich egg that carries its nest around with it. What is going on? Why? Can we make him look like more of a dickhead than he actually is?
this ourselves as Diamond and Silk, or was going through this ourselves as
Right.
Diamond and Silk. And so how they began to call us what they were calling you, and how they
I don't remember ever calling either one of them Fat Wolverine.
began to censor us, and it's like whatever you say does not mean anything. You don't get a right to say it.
If whatever you say doesn't mean anything, you don't have the right to say it. Yeah, that's how I would define censorship. Sure. Why not? Also, what's with the fucking music? Are we going to turn it off? Does this result in an interview? Or is this a 4-minute and 21-second InfoWars ad?
We're like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Somebody's playing music.
Something is wrong here. This is.
Also, YouTube, whoever, don't hit me with a copyright strike because these fuckers put in some sort of like baseline free music underneath and you can't bank shot it or something. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Fake news.
You will always have conspiracy theories. They are nothing but distractions.
So I want the first.
What the fuck are we watching? What is this nonsense? This doesn't make it any more convincing. The more time, like, who spent time on this shit?
Apologize for not even believing you at the beginning, but I want to recognize that Alice Jones was right. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Alice Jones was absolutely right. Alice, you look fabulous. Alice Jones, everyone.
Alice Jones was.
Alice Jones, you can't go wrong. Alice, please, you know what? We've said enough. Alice, over to you.
Right? I don't care how you slice it, dice it, flip it up, or rub it down. Alice Jones was right.
That's right. Alice Jones was absolutely correct. I don't know who Alice Jones is, but she's probably, I have nothing against the woman.
A governmental corporate big tech coup is in control of the United States and works directly with.
A governmental corporate big tech coup is in charge of the. Okay, first of all, a coup is how you take over something and take charge of it. Once you take charge of it, you're no longer cooing. The coup has ceased. Once you gain control, you use the coup to get there. Look who I'm talking to, Mr. SATs.
The European Union, and is absolutely, completely criminal and illegal at every level, and will be.
It's absolutely criminal and illegal at every level. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen of the European Union, and of course, the Brexity Brits and Canada and the United States, every aspect of your life is criminal. Everything you do, every law around you is fake. None of your system matters. It's all run on bullshit, and you're a criminal yourself. Go turn yourself in at the local. Well, technically, it's criminal too. So I don't know where you put yourself under house arrest.
Be the enforcement for the social credit score that is the mark of the beast system.
Okay. All right. First of all, when did Joe Rogan start broadcasting from inside the ship from Walt Disney's The Black Hole? Secondly, he's going to say Alex was right. Is this just a big ad that everybody agreeing with Alex Jones that they put together?
Alex is right about far more than he's wrong.
Alex has been.
Oh, Alex is right. Yes, He's right about most of the doors that he grabs open towards him. He very seldom walks up to the drive-through and drives up to the counter. Most of the stuff, he insofar as we know, he shits and wipes in the right order, although jury's still out. He's right about so many things. He very seldom tries to put his pants on over his head anymore. That was a painful lesson, and he doesn't care to repeat it.
Been right on for over a decade.
Alex Jones never bought the Russia hoax, not for a second.
It's because A, it wasn't a hoax, and B, he was counting on it.
Government fears Alex Jones.
That's why the globalists hate me, is because I'm exposing their corporate worldwide tyranny.
I don't know. I think it's because you keep bothering them while they're eating and going, you're going to finish that.
I came across this quote here, and it says, when you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You are only telling the world that you fear what he might say.
Man, he didn't get his tongue fucking cut out. He's literally talking during this. He could literally write a book from prison. The fuck are you talking about?
I don't have to sit here and tell you it's coming anymore and show you documents like I used to. You're just
Yeah, because it didn't turn out to be true. If any of it was true, you wouldn't be here.
gonna live it now.
And what we got to do as a country, as a people, is stop playing
All right, get the fuck out of here with this. Like, what is this? First of all, it sounds like sound-alike music for the Doctor Who theme.
the games to the left or to this corporate media that they want us to play, be distracted and deflected from. And we have to go within and do our own research. That's right.
Yes, do your own research. And that means smashing a television from 1983.
Educate ourselves.
85,
And
82, 76.
instead of looking at the rug and how pretty the rug may be, we need to lift up the rug, remove the rug, and see all the dirt underneath the rug,
Right.
so we can understand what's going on.
Right.
So
And what they do is they label,
Yeah.
and they say conspiracy theory, and you get scared because, oh, I don't want to be tied to that.
Right.
Only to be called that when you can call out some stuff too. Wait a minute,
Right.
this is what could be happening, or when you asking questions. So
All right, this is like a snow piece that Alex's people put together to try and make it so he doesn't fucking have to pay off.
we all know that Alex Jones was right.
Yeah.
No,
No, he wasn't. And by the way, that graphic does seem to be something that Alex added after the
nobody
fact.
will take the credit for that. I didn't hear Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, see, this is what it originally said. It was just this bullshit. The Alex Jones was right part is something he put in.
I heard you.
I heard you.
Say a lot of things that we were perplexed by, but now we are like, oh my God, Alex Jones was
That's
right.
right.
Oh my God. This is fucking, and then there's going to be, what, a dick pill ad? What's happening after this? Hold on. There we are. Yeah, promo code 70s. It's a fucking ad. Motherfucker. That's what passes for, again, this is a man whose tongue was torn out because we fear his truth. Putting together I wouldn't call it slick. It's kind of like shitty Media 100, edit job, ad like propaganda spot for himself. And then following it up with an ad with a promo code to sell shit, to pay for his own stuff. This is the exact opposite of someone being silenced. The government has not silenced this motherfucker. He lost in civil court. Good Lord. And he's going to keep losing, by the way. Now, by the way, speaking of losers, can I just point out, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, by the way, and this is I'm looking forward to this. The Daily Wire has a special that you have to join to watch, and I'm really torn. I'm going to have to find some sort of way to ghost account this shit. My dinner with Trump. First of all, the fact that there's like a nice thing, a plate of dinner rolls on the table, and it's a classy kind of setup is horseshit, because you know it's going to be just, it'll be the same setup, same fancy dining room, same fancy tables and shit, but it'll be like burgers, unless you're picking up the tab. If the Daily Wire paid for it, it'll be well done steaks and all the ketchup you can chuck. But the Daily Wire is having my dinner with, I can think of, the only thing worse would be a sleepover. So fucking gross. I'm so confused. Who is paying for this meal? I will not agree to this interview until you give them a credit card ahead of time. I'm not paying for this. I love fancy dinner rolls. I agree. Pretzel rolls, don't get me started. All right. Now, we've been bouncing around some of these folks lately. And there's been a couple of favorites that have been, amongst us, and we'll get to one of those in a minute. We do have a Russell Brand clip coming up, and be forewarned, we haven't seen Russell in a little bit, largely because he's been doing his live stream, and all of his shit is just too long, and nobody cares. Can I just show you one thing real quick before we, for this stupid thing? This is one of his clips when he was on YouTube regularly. You could average 250,000 views in a day. Easy. Maybe 160,000, 90,000 in average in the first 12 hours they're up. This video is a day old on Rumble, and it's got 24,900 views. It's got 2,000 rumbles, which is more than Don Jr. ever comes up with. But still, by viewer numbers, that's not happening. So anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. But first we want to go to the man on the internet who's as funny as Greg Kelly is happy. Greg Gutfeld, this is not him, this is an image transition in here. Greg Gutfeld, why would anybody lie about a red wave? Okay, now this is one of the things that is coming around that they've got to push back against, because the numbers are not working out. The numbers, the idea that there's going to be a red wave is horseshit. They know it. Trump and Mike Pillow have been barnstorming the whole fucking country, talking maggots out of voting, and it's having an effect. Democrats are outperforming in early voting. Occasionally in certain areas, you'll have like one big puff where all the Republicans seem to show up, and then it goes right back down to subnormal. But this seems to be concerning some of them, and I want to see how far they take it. This is, here you go. Why would anybody lie about a red wave? Here we go.
We have 1 week to go, and signs of a red wave are kind of getting bigger than ever. The final edition of the Fox News Power
are kinda getting bigger than ever.
Ranking shows dangerous territory for the Democrats, with the GOP forecast to win a decisive House majority. But not everyone in the media wants to hear that.
If you get past those headlines and dig a little deeper, you uncover an insidious and seemingly intentional campaign by Republican-backed polling firms to flood the zone and tip the balance of polling averages in favor of their candidates, to create a narrative that Republicans are surging and that a red wave is imminent and inevitable.
While some are dismissing the possibility of a red wave, Democrats are doing their best to stop it. Former President Obama,
yeah, it's almost like they care.
Zigzagging across the country and campaigning in key battleground states. But
why isn't Trump? It's weird. Obama's going to key battleground states, and it's seen as a net positive. And yet Trump is only going to places, if he goes anywhere at all, he's only going places that the Republicans have locked down, where he basically can't fuck it up, is the idea.
President Biden hasn't really been seen, or is not in high demand. He showed up in Florida.
He hasn't been seen, but he showed up in Florida.
However, which has been trending toward the Republicans. Biden attacking Republicans.
So he's been in hiding, but he's going to a state where they're trying to tip a state trending red back blue.
Republicans claiming they want to slash Social Security and Medicare.
Yeah, they do.
They're under siege by our Republican friends. And by the way, this ain't your father's Republican Party. This is a different deal right now. You've been paying in Social Security your whole life. You earned it. Now these guys want to take it away. Who in the hell do they think they are? Excuse my language. Watch what happens to the cost of living of hardworking Floridians.
By the way, this is, hold on. Biden reads Scott. Let's see if I can find this thing. Yeah, here it is. This is from the same time. This is Biden literally reading from Rick Scott's plan to get rid of Social Security.
The report, I made it larger, listed all they want to do. Quote, all federal legislation sunsets, means goes out of existence in 5 years. If the law is worth keeping, Congress will pass it again. So every 5 years, the Congress will have to vote to reauthorize Social Security. Reauthorize it, or else it goes away. Would have to vote to reauthorize Medicare, reauthorize veterans benefits. And I go down the list, but guess what? The very idea that a senator from Florida wants to cut Social Security, Medicare, and by the way, they don't have to go away, they can cut it. They can change it, basically. A senator from Florida going after Medicare and Social Security? I tell you what, I don't know where, as they say in Southern, don't know where y'all been. Hot damn, boy. I tell you, look, it's so outrageous you might not even believe it. And again, word for word, all federal legislation sunsets, means goes away in 5 years. If the law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again. In other words,
by the way, all Rand Paul has to do is hold it up. All you need is one senator who views themselves as a libertarian, and they can gack up the whole fucking thing, especially if that party is in power.
It goes out of existence if Congress doesn't vote to keep it. Isn't that wonderful? And then along came Senator Johnson from Wisconsin. He says 5 years is too long to wait. No, it's hard to believe. No, I really mean it. It's hard to believe. He says that's too long. Every year, every single year, it should be on the chopping block, along with veterans benefits and everything else in the federal budget. If Congress doesn't vote affirmatively to keep it, it goes away, gone. You've been paying in Social Security your whole life. You earned it. Now these guys want to take it away. Who in the hell do they think they are? Excuse my language.
Right. So that was the lead up. What they left off, notice the clip that she plays on this thing. Notice how they take out the part where he reads. We just watched it. Notice how they took off the part where he read it out loud from Rick Scott's plan.
That's what I call inflation. At the end of the month, what you have left, if you have no money, that's inflation. The things you need, are they going up? And they are. God bless you all. God protect our troops. And God give some of our Republican friends some enlightenment.
Well, the Washington Post fact checkers giving Biden's claim about cutting Social Security and Medicare 4 Pinocchios. That is their worst rating that they can get. Might have deserved 5. We talked about this yesterday. But Katie, this is like a last-ditch effort. The only thing they're talking about on the economy is the Republicans, like this fake idea that they're going to cut Social Security and Medicare.
They're going to sunset all programs and then vote to reauthorize every single one of them. And it will simply be that members of their party are the only ones. There are only a few members that believe Social Security shouldn't exist. Other people want to cut the shit out of it, or to get it passed, you'll have to cut the shit out of it. That they're going to force those changes or they won't vote to reauthorize it. And so they do it every 5 years. Instead of having a good faith argument about reshaping it or fixing it over time or any of that stuff, they literally have a gun to its head every 5 years. And Ron Johnson wants to have it every year. So the idea that they're going to, hold on. Let's see if, Washington Post. See what the okay, this is the thing that they just cited. Glenn Kessler, the false claims center. Okay, here we go. When election for Republicans, crime and immigration, for Democrats, Social Security, Medicare. Murray, who's been in the state Senate, is running against Republican. Murray's tweet is a succinct example of what they call the meta scare tactics, an effort to warn seniors that Republicans will take away their hard-earned benefits. Indeed, the rest of the tweet stated, Washington seniors who have spent their lives paying into these programs deserve better, and I'll keep fighting to make sure they get it. Don't worry, seniors, there is no such plan. The facts. When Social Security was established in 1935, most Republican lawmakers supported it, but more Republicans and Democrats opposed it. When Medicare was created in 1965, slightly more Republicans opposed the new program. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Decades later, because, I mean, literally that's pre-Dixiecrat. Decades later, Republicans have never let Republicans forget this history, and campaign attacks Democrats. Okay, 2014, I don't give a shit. Hold on. In the same wanted to slash Medicare benefits. Not so. In 2011, when Vice President Biden eliminating Medicare in the next 2 years, that wasn't true either. We'll check that out in a second. Hold on. Whoops, back up. The Biden's remarks were on ABC blog with the quote, we're examining is slightly different. The Vice President, it shows that one crucial phase, they say it doesn't, was missing from ABC's account. But Biden's essential point was that GPP would eliminate Medicare in the next 10 years. Does it? The current Medicare system is placed, okay, Biden mentions a voucher program. Medicare as we know it, that kind of say, they doesn't eliminate, as I call it, eliminating Medicare for the in the next 10 years. This is where Biden gets strong. We might have the caveat used by Obama, the end of Medicare as we know it. Right. That's okay. That's the back and forth. The Pinocchio test. They give it 2 on their Pinocchio test because they're not counting his full quote. Nice work, Washington Post. Okay. Now comes the latest iteration. The main source of this comes from Rick Scott's plan to rescue America on page 38 in a section on government restructuring. One sentence. All federal legislation sunsets in 5 years. If a law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again. Sunset is inside the Beltway lingo. Congressional Research Office. The sunset concept provides for programs and agencies to terminate automatically on a periodic basis unless explicitly renewed by law. In theory, then even a venerable program such as Social Security and Medicare would have to prove its worth all over again every 5 years, though neither is specifically mentioned. Why would it have to be? You know where it fucking is? All federal legislation. That's where it's mentioned specifically. Because specifically, it is federal legislation. Scott's plan is almost immediately rejected by Mitch McConnell, but then so is everything Mitch McConnell says by the Trumpies. We will not have as part of our agenda that a bill that raises taxes on half American people and sunsets Americans. That will not be part of a Republican Senate majority agenda. Scott also proposed requiring every American to pay some kind of tax, an idea that quickly found its way into Democratic attacks. Write-up offered few details with no proposed legislative language. Scott also denied he wanted to end Social Security and Medicare. Yeah, he'll vote to reissue it. He won't be the one that stops it. That'll be Rand Paul's fucking job. Again, splitting hairs. The idea is like, no. We're going to sunset it, but we'll vote it back in. That's obvious. We'll definitely keep Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. We love that stuff. We think it's totally useful. We think it's great. And we think it's a strong, important, powerful system where, you know, and by the way, Mitch McConnell, when has he ever broken his word?
Yeah, so the Biden White House has tried to sell the Inflation Reduction Act, for example, as an accomplishment to the media and to the American people. But the polling actually shows that American people and likely voters don't actually think that the big legislation that President Biden has gotten through has been positive for the economy or for their lives. So what they see as something that's been good and something they can run out, and they made the argument that Republicans didn't help us get this across the finish line at all. Well, voters are saying, yeah, and we're glad.
You're boring, Greg. Look at Greg. He's totally, like, he's checked out on this. He's reviewing. He's written down a couple of jokes and a couple of statements, and they haven't gotten to him yet. He just is not going to participate.
They didn't, and that's why we might hire them for the job on Tuesday. They're struggling with that. The other thing,
they're not struggling because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Nobody's going, yeah, that was a blah. Like, that's all a right-wing talking point. That doesn't land any fucking where.
That they're, struggling with as well is talking about very last-minute issues that haven't been a topic of conversation up until this point. And if you're pivoting your message a week before the election, especially in places like Georgia, where early voter turnout is on not only a record for everyone, but on behalf of Republican voters, you got a problem on your hands 1 week out.
President Biden has run so many races over the years. I wonder how many times he has actually said that Republicans were going to cut Social Security and Medicare and all of that. You have been...
Yeah, just because they haven't, this goes to our attempted murder idea. Attempted murder, equally as bad as murder. Because if you could get another chance, you'd try again. Hold on one second. Let's see. Early voter turnout, Georgia, by party. Go Georgia votes. See who's voting early. Absentee. Total voters. See, one second. Trying to see somebody who has like a graph that shows us Georgia, who stands to benefit. Said black early voter turnout dropped from 39% to first day of early voting to cumulative 30% more recently. He said Democrats need a strong white vote. Georgia Senate race features 2 black majority. Chase Oliver, hold on. There you go. They're going by race on the Hill, as they would. Graph, maybe something. If I look for a graph. Age. This one doesn't. So this Georgia early voters. Turnout for the 2022 midterm is 29% higher than turnout in 2020. Let's see. By race, let's see, that's by number. They're pretty close. There you go. Here's the, by the way, this is what I'm looking at. Whoop, here we go. These are 20. Here you go. Here's 2018 votes, 2022 votes. Whoop. Here's 2022 is in the green. 2018 is in the orange, right there. Yeah, bigger voter turnout benefits Democrats across the board in general, especially in states where, like, you know, the Republicans hate Kemp and they're angry about this. And these guys know this, by the way. I would like to be abundantly clear. They know these facts. They know that the early vote is benefiting Dems. Let's see, general election 2022. Let's see, by Democrats. Yeah. Let's see if there's a, Georgia. 4 million people have voted early already in Georgia. Overall, by party, 22 million Democrats have voted, 15 million Republicans have voted. Democrats hold a plus 14.3 point lead in, I wish I could scroll that up there. I don't know why it won't. Get out of here. Down here, it says, so 30.5% of Republicans have voted early. 44.8% of Democrats are the total voted by party registration. So the number of people who voted, the majority of them are Democrats or no party affiliation, comes in almost identical to Republicans, by the way. Usually means young voters. But 49 million people have already voted across the country. Yeah. Look at the, memberships. Oh my gosh. Thank you for gifting the subs, Shadow Woman. Oh my gosh. Bless you. Look, we've actually, we've stayed above, we're at 1,100 in our subs. It's wonderful. I keep waiting for it to drop down below 1,000 again, and it's stayed up for almost 2 weeks. I'm so excited. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Super Chat's a great way to support the show. Also, the Venmo right here. All right. So, but Greg seems confused, or he will be, I suppose.
Been reluctant over the year to say red wave. How are you feeling now? What's your comfort level?
I've seen the actual numbers, but my job here is to bullshit people.
Comfortable with tsunami. It wasn't looking like a red wave earlier in August, and now it looks like a tsunami. So I'm pivoted as the facts have.
And by the way, no, it fucking doesn't. If of the early vote, Democrats are up by 14 fucking %. And again, in areas where Republican, like people who are going to vote or whatever, have who really going to vote, like dyed in the wool, run of the mill R&D voters who've been around for a long time, they're going to vote by mail or they're going to vote in person, whatever they fucking feel like. They're not going to be dissuaded by what Trump says or what Mike Pillow says. And so they're reflective of a real number of people. And so there'll be a bunch of people who are like, I'm going to vote on voting day because I'm going to show them. And then there's going to be the other half of those assholes who are like, I'm staying home. It's all rigged anyways. Who gives a shit?
Changed. I love Joy Reid. She looked great, but she's got to get out of my lane because rigged polls are my lane. And she's not talking about Fox News polls, conservative leaning, being favorable to Republicans. I have right here the most accurate and inaccurate list of polls in the last election.
All right.
The worst polls were Quinnipiac, CNN, LA Times, Washington Post, ABC, and Monmouth and New York Times. The most accurate.
Okay.
Atlas Intel, Wick, Trafalgar, Insider Advantage, and Harris and Rasmussen. Those are independent polls. People say they're conservative leaning.
Also, which election is he talking about? 2020? Because that didn't turn out to be the fucking case at all.
But they
does he mean 2018 or is he talking 2016?
actually speak to Republicans that won't speak to mainstream pollsters. They're saying there's not going to be a wave in Nevada. I said that right. Is it Nevada? Not Nevada. It's Nevada. The Republicans are ahead in the Senate. The Republicans are ahead in the gubernatorial race. And every congressional race there is either a toss-up or lean Republican. Now, Biden's going down there to talk about Charlie Crist, who the fix is in. They have a deal.
In Florida, by the way. That's not in Arizona.
That he'll just say nice things about Joe Biden in Florida and then bloody up DeSantis, and he'll probably get an ambassadorship. That's the deal that's been cut down there. But
yes, because that's what you'd have to do. The guy isn't actually running for the office that he's trying to actually win.
This guy is getting worse as he campaigns. His lies are piling up. He's talking about the big lie. He tells a big lie every day. Republicans want to scrap Social Security.
Yes, they do. They're counting on Rand Paul to do it for them, like the cowards that they are.
There's no recession. Inflation is zero. Republicans are causing.
Inflation was year over year, and the month of July was zero. To stop revisiting that bullshit. We actually had positive growth. That everybody's like, we've got anemic growth right now. We have fucking growth. The rest of the world is not.
The crime wave. This is really, really, really bad. Pinocchios are to the sky.
It's the grasp of language. That's why I come to Fox News. It's the power of analogy and the grasp of the English language. It's spectacular. It's no wonder that they used to send this asshole down to Chinatown to bigot his way around the streets.
You can see the nose from here.
That's a big nose. All right, let's play. I believe we have this call from Nevada, and it's from.
Why is Greg not talking? Isn't it his show? What's going on?
Nevada Independent, that's an outlet. John Ralston, this is what he said. We'll go to Harold after this.
I don't put much stock in any polling right now. We have already had people vote. We've had about 250,000 people vote in Nevada. You know, I track these early numbers very closely, and it looks like the Democrats are holding their registration in Nevada. So there are no signs of a red wave. There's no signs of a big Democratic wipeout coming. That doesn't mean it can't happen, of course.
Harold, in Nevada, the inflation for people like gas and groceries and things like that, it's double what it is across the country. And then they also had all the COVID.
It is not double here what it is across the country. Nevada does not have fucking double what the rest of the country. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That is lunacy.
losses with people losing their jobs, and you just have a
Yeah, and right now, Vegas is fucking packed. So is Reno.
Democratically, well, a realignment for both parties happening. So Nevada could be the place where the Republicans might be able to flip a Senate seat and a gubernatorial seat.
Well, first of all, good to be back around the table.
Thank you.
There are four seats in the Senate I think we're all looking at. Nevada. Did I say that right?
Nevada.
Nevada. You know what I'm talking about. Where Las Vegas is. That place, Georgia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Now, the House, I think you have to separate these conversations. I think the House, I try to be.
By the way, this is the numbers that they're talking about. This is the Las Vegas Review Journal, the paper of note in town. Just so you know what reality is pointing to. This is the first week of early voting in Nevada's 2022 midterms told us what we've known about races all along. Things are going to be very close on election day for the state's closely watched races for U.S. Senate, governor, and more. According to Nevada's Secretary of State's office, 119,282 Democrats cast their ballots through Friday, which marked the end of the first week of Nevada's 2-week early voting window, compared to 110,101 Republicans. That's an advantage of about 9,200 votes for Democrats, which is about 3.1 percentage point lead on the ballots cast, 40% to 37.3, which will probably shake out to exactly the same thing on election day. It's going to be very close.
Call balls and strikes. I think you're right. I don't know if it's a tsunami, but I think it's going to be a pretty good night for Republicans unless something dramatic happens. And frankly, because of the way these districts have been drawn, it's not a total surprise, but I don't dismiss the messaging at all either there. But on the Senate, it's a little different. I think this race is still tight. If indeed all these things you're saying were right, the Republicans would be ahead in all of these states. They're tight races, and maybe the momentum is shifting here in the last several days. But, you know, Democrats are smart to put the Obamas. I'd put Michelle out there, too, if I were Democrat.
Where is Michelle?
I mean, you put your most gifted political athletes out.
Look at Jesse Waters piping in, like, where is Michelle? Isn't it suspect that she's not around? What's that all about? Clearly, it's in... because I haven't seen her, because I don't care, her not being around, is she up to crime stuff?
In the last week here, and Obama is certainly that. And for that matter, where you put Biden, you put him in situational places. He's more of a situational player than he is an every down player.
Really?
I thought you would relate to that.
Yeah, what situation would that be?
Well, there are places where, like Hillary Clinton, I think is a situational player here in New York. You put her here in the Hochul race, which I think also is a race. That's one of the two races I'm watching.
You had a Democratic. Let me get Greg in. There was a Democrat.
Yeah, bring Greg in, because he's feeling left out right now, and he's written a couple of things down. He's got some really sharp ideas, and he's going to say some stuff that's really funny, and it's going to help us all turn this conversation around, because it's getting too dry for the five. I don't know. I expect a lot more. Yes, where's Melania? Where's Trump? Dude, Trump isn't even fucking doing these districts.
Democratic strategist, of course, didn't want to put his name on the record, who said that Kathy Hochul in New York is dragging down all the other Democrats in the state.
I'm not surprised. It's just hard to think, because every time.
Yes, it is. When you're Greg Gutfeld, it's hard to think.
Joy Reid's lipstick is just on my mind. It's stunning, beautiful. I want everybody to know that I've been trying to wear that for years, but
we'll try
Fox won't allow
pull
me.
It off.
You know, it's funny. Why would anybody lie about a red wave? If anything, you would lie saying it's a toss-up, because then that would get people to come out and vote. When you say
no, because that's not the motivating factor for Republicans. We're going to do this, so join in. That's the psychology of maggots. That's why Trump was like, you're going to be tired of winning. We're going to win and win and win. They don't show up for a losing team because it's fucking sports to them.
It's a red wave. People like me who are intrinsically lazy won't leave their bed.
Yeah, you're not going to vote anyways, dummy. He doesn't even, like, if this motherfucker votes, I would be shocked at all, ever.
So yeah.
He considers his job voting. You know what I mean? Like, I do my part in the political sphere just by showing up on Fox News.
I have to tell people like me that we're going to lose, and then I'll get out. I've been trying to suppress the vote in my neighborhood by saying that all the people in the Capitol.
Oh, he's checking his notes. This is going to be terrible. Oh, God. The joke is coming, and I'm afraid it's going to be terrible.
On January 6th, voted. So if you vote, you're no better than an insurrectionist.
Yeah. While everybody else was talking, he was writing that down. He thinks, he was like, this'll get him. Zing. Oh, God.
Try using that. You will suppress the vote. I hope there are blowouts, right? Don't you hope there are blowouts? Because I don't want...
He wrote blowout on a piece of paper. Look at him. Greg, man. Have you taken lessons from Don Jr.? For fuck's sake, man.
On any drawn out BS. Do you know what I mean? Because like, because everybody's going to keep saying it's a threat to democracy. It's just going to be irritating. It's going to upset my schedule. I got stuff to do. And
no, he doesn't.
Harold, you said, you know, you get your best players out there. What does that say about Joe?
He's in Florida. He's in Florida. What does that say about Trump, apparently Trump is having dinner with the fucking Daily Wire. Why is this all bigger? Hold on. Yeah. Biden is campaigning with Charlie Crist in Florida. Trump is having dinner with the Daily Wire.
Like benching somebody during a championship game.
He's not benched, fucker. You literally just showed a clip of him campaigning with the gubernatorial candidate in Florida, who is himself trying to unseat the guy who's going to run for president in 2024 as the titular head of the new Trumpian magatry.
Game, because if he took the field, you would lose. That's humbling. He is a mess, though. The stuff he's saying, I mean, it's like crazy stuff.
Wait. Where is he saying all this stuff, dum-dum? If he's in hiding, why are you playing clips of him not in fucking hiding? Yes, he's literally giving a speech, I think, tonight.
The Democrats wanted to be like, you know, the Darrens and Bewitched. Like they take him out and they put in a new Darren. And
he wrote Darren and Bewitched. This has been a talking point for a while.
It's Obama, but it's more like Chuck from Happy Days. Remember Chuck?
Yeah.
They just disappeared.
No, they don't. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Chuck.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Joe is the Chuck Cunningham of presidents. And it's like they're going like,
wow. That's look out. By the way, Dennis Miller, there's a new sheriff in town. If he starts going, babe, at the end of stuff, you're done, brother. I don't know what, you might as well, pack it in like Richard Dreyfuss getting the kids into the car.
If we just keep them up,
booby, ba-bam.
Stairs.
Make it, next thing you know, you'll be making a mashed potato mountain and wondering where your family went. I can't stand Dennis, so I don't know how to even do is what he does.
Like Anthony Perkins in Psycho,
Oh my God, stick to a fucking single pop culture reference, dum-dum.
No one will see him, but I think that, I'm not going to say red.
Wait a minute. Like Anthony Hopkins in Psycho, no one will see. What?
Like Anthony Perkins in Psycho, no one will see him, but I think that.
Like Anthony Perkins in Psycho, no one will see him. Anthony Perkins is one of the stars of Psycho. Do you mean when he's looking through the hole in the wall? Oh, God, this is pathetic.
I'm not going to say red wave, but I do think.
Yeah, because it's not happening. And Jesse will throw himself under the bus and be all angry and say it was stolen. But he's not that committed.
It will be Republican control of obviously.
Hold on. Yeah, 1 second. I think that's kind of funny. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me go back here. 1 second. Just having United States. Where is it? Okay. Now I'm trying to find it real quick. Give me a second. They're just so you know, they're setting up live for Biden to do remarks. Let's see. He is speaking from the Washington Union Station, blocks from the U.S. Capitol. It's from Capitol Hill because it swears it was an attempt to subvert our democracy. Anita Dunn told Axios, referring to Biden's remarks. Dunn said the Democratic president will be very clear tonight that he is speaking to people who don't agree with him on any issues, but who don't agree with his agenda, but who really can unite behind this idea of fundamental value of democracy. So they're setting up for him to speak. There you go. So while we're watching this clip of this dumbass, Biden, they used a clip of Biden campaigning in fucking Florida, you know, that podunk flyover state that's never factored into any election. And secondarily, he's about to give a speech about the importance of democracy.
See the House, maybe the Senate, and it'll be like parents coming home from the 2-week cruise. The House filled.
Oh God, he wrote this down too. I'm dying. I'm dying here, dude. This every fucking thing. He thinks that there's zingers. It's just painful. Why? Why do I pick these clips?
With, you know, empty keggers, the carpet's ruined.
There's no such thing as an empty kegger. A kegger is a party where you have a keg. An empty keg would be the thing that was used at a kegger. Motherfucker, I don't even drink, and I know how to. What the living? How the fuck am I? Why do I, as the non-drinker, how do I? Hold on one second. I need to bring in somebody who understands what the hell. I love you, Greg. Tell it, you're the funniest ever. Totally. Let's hang out. Hold on. Hey, Siri, stream. I'm sorry if I said that in your thing, because people are going to talk. There you go. It's a little gray around here, and you couldn't see me because it's too much. Tell him, Greg, you're hilarious.
And broken windows, but the adults are home. And
yeah, they're finally back. The Republicans are the adults in the room, and that's why we won't get vaccinated, and we don't believe in the Department of Education, and we want to homeschool our kids, and we believe that all drugs should be legalized, not even heroin and fentanyl, but that if any fentanyl comes to the country, it's because we have an open border, even though we're the only ones saying there's an open border. Get it, Greg, get it.
And they're going to try to fix everything, because I think
the parents are going to come in and try to fix everything. That's right. Republicans love to fix everything.
You'd agree with me that wokeism has broken your party right now. And I think that, you know, if you get a strong competition.
It's terrible. Wokeism. Yeah, that's terrible. You know what? I think the message, the anti-woke message of the Republican Party, listen up. The anti-woke message of the Republican Party is go back to sleep, America.
In there, the Democrats will come back to being a vibrant party, much like you are a vibrant person, Harold.
This is weird. I'm uncomfortable around men liking men. It's a thing that I can't do it anymore. It's gross. All right. Sorry. I can only do that one for so long because even though it's a filter, I find myself squishing my face up and then I can't speak because my cheekbones start to hurt.
Greg, I hope whatever happens to your point that both parties take the right lessons from the outcome. I'm not
That's hilarious.
convinced that's going to be the case, but I hope you're more right than wrong.
Yeah. It's good to see you anyway, though, Harold.
Anyway.
Make one comment, even though I'm supposed to be leading the block. So the most effective...
Even though I'm supposed to be leading the block. Okay, so the show is broken down into 5 blocks, and everybody, or 3 of the people... The main factor, I don't think Harold or whoever's in the liberal seat ever starts the block in this situation. It's her, Greg, or whoever's in the Judge Janine seat that usually starts all the blocks. But it just means that you field the questions and start things off like it's the fucking View.
Effective line of the race for Republicans going against Democrats is the candidate, the Democrat, voted 100% of the time with Biden and Pelosi. That's actually stuck. You see that coming up in all of these focus groups and things like that. The one that didn't work at all, that was a total dud, was when Biden talked about the MAGA Republicans.
Oh, that was great.
Nobody bought it. All right.
Hey, Sean.
Great. Cool. Yeah, nobody bought it. Nobody was convinced it wasn't a crossover vote. It was a motivator vote. And that's the difference. Whereas the voting with Biden 100% of the time, apparently, oh dear God, that's terrible. that he would do that because he's in their party, right? Even though if you didn't vote 100% of the time with Trump, you're considered an enemy of the state. Hi, Sean. Fuck off. So you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Welcome. It's a Wednesday afternoon, and I'm gonna go to this one this next one because it's slightly shorter, and I'm a little disappointed. Although wait, Biden's speaking. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can bring this up. There we go. Hold on.
She wasn't there. Her husband, my friend Paul Pelosi, was home alone. The assailant tried to take Paul hostage. He woke him up. He wanted to tie him up. The assailant ended up using a hammer to smash Paul's skull. Thankfully, by the grace of God, Paul survived. All this happened after the assault, and it's hard to even say. It's hard to even say. After the assailant entered the home asking, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" Those are the very same words used by the mob when they stormed the United States Capitol on January the 6th.
That and
when they
also
broke windows,
hang Mike
kicked
Pence
in the
and
doors,
they wanted to put a
brutally
bullet in your
attacked law
brain.
enforcement, roamed the corridors, hunting for officials, and erected gallows to hang the former Vice President Mike Pence.
Right. Who built the fucking gallows? I'm not going to let that go.
It was an enraged mob that had been whipped up into a frenzy by a president repeating over and over again the big lie that the election of 2020 had been stolen. It's a lie that fueled the dangerous rise in political violence and voter intimidation over the past 2 years. Even before January the 6th, we saw election officials and election workers in a number of states subject to menacing calls, physical threats, even threats to their very lives. In Georgia, for example, the Republican Secretary of State and his family were subjected to death threats because he refused to break the law and give in to the defeated president's demand, just find him 11,780 votes.
The Republican Secretary of State, by the way.
Just find me 11,780 votes. Election workers like Shay Moss and her mother, Ruby Freeman, were harassed and threatened just because they had the courage to do their job and stand up for the truth, to stand up for our democracy. This institution, this intimidation, this violence against Democrats, Republicans, and nonpartisan officials just doing their jobs are the consequence of lies told for power and profit, lies of conspiracy and malice, lies repeated over and over to generate a cycle of anger, hate, vitriol, and even violence. In this moment, we have to confront those lies with the truth. The very future of our nation depends on it. My fellow Americans, we're facing a defining moment, an inflection point. We must, with one overwhelming, unified voice, speak as a country and say there's no place for voter intimidation or political violence in America, whether it's directed at Democrats or Republicans. No place, period. No place ever.
Agreed.
I speak today near Capitol
That's why
Hill.
I say it on the show all the time.
Near the U.S. Capitol, the citadel of our democracy. I know there's a lot at stake in these midterm elections, from our economy to the safety of our streets to our personal freedoms, to the future of health care, Social Security, Medicare. It's all important. But we'll have our differences. We'll have our difference of opinion. And that's what it's supposed to be. But there's something else at stake. Democracy itself. I'm not the only one who sees it. Recent polls have shown that overwhelming majority of Americans believe our democracy is at risk, that our democracy is under threat. They too see that democracy is on the ballot this year. and they're deeply concerned about it. So today, I appeal to all Americans, regardless of party, to meet this moment of national and generational importance. We must vote knowing what's at stake and not just the policy of the moment, but institutions that have held us together as we've sought a more perfect union are also at stake. We must vote knowing who we have been, what we're at risk of becoming. Look, my fellow Americans, the old expression, freedom is not free. It requires constant vigilance. From the very beginning, nothing has been guaranteed about democracy in America. Every generation has had to defend it, protect it, preserve it, choose it. For that's what democracy is. It's a choice, a decision of the people, by the people, and for the people. The issue couldn't be clearer in my view. We, the people, must decide whether we will have fair and free elections, and every vote counts. We, the people, must decide whether we're going to sustain a republic where reality is accepted, the law is obeyed, and your vote is truly sacred. We, the people, must decide whether the rule of law will prevail, or whether we will allow the dark forces that thirst for power put ahead of the principles that we've long guided us. You know, American democracy is under attack because the defeated former president of the United States refuses to accept the results of the 2020 election. He refuses to accept the will of the people. He refuses to accept the fact that he lost. He has abused his power and put the loyalty to himself before loyalty to the Constitution. And he's made a big lie an article of faith in the MAGA Republican Party, the minority of that party. The great irony about the 2020 election is that it's the most attacked election in our history, and yet, there's no election in our history that we can be more certain of its results. Every legal challenge that could have been brought was brought.
Right.
Every recount that could have been undertaken was undertaken. Every recount confirmed the results. Wherever fact or evidence had been demanded, the big lie has been proven to be just that, a big lie, every single time. Yet now, extreme MAGA Republicans aim to question not only the legitimacy of past elections, but elections being held now and into the future. The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, which is a minority of that party, as I said earlier, but is its driving force, is trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, to suppress the right of voters and subvert the electoral system itself. That means denying your right to vote and deciding whether your vote even counts. Instead of waiting until an election is over, they're starting well before it. They're starting now. They've emboldened violence and intimidation of voters and election officials. It's estimated that there are more than 300 election deniers on the ballot all across America this year. We can't ignore the impact this is having on our country. It's damaging, it's corrosive, and it's destructive. And I want to be very clear. This is not about me. It's about all of us. It's about what makes America, America. It's about the durability of our democracy. For democracies are more than a form of government. They're a way of being, a way of seeing the world, a way that defines who we are, what we believe, why we do what we do. Democracy is simply that fundamental. We must, in this moment, dig deep within ourselves and recognize that we can't take democracy for granted any longer. With democracy on the ballot, we have to remember these first principles. Democracy means the rule of the people, not the rule of monarchs or the moneyed, but the rule of the people. Autocracy is the opposite of democracy. It means the rule of one person, one interest, one ideology, one party. To state the obvious, the lives of billions of people from antiquity till now have been shaped by the battle between these competing forces, between the aspirations of the many and the greed and power of the few, between the people's right for self-determination and the self-seeking autocrat, between the dreams of a democracy and the appetites of an autocracy. What we're doing now is going to determine whether democracy will long endure. It, in my view, is the biggest of questions. Whether the American system that prizes the individual, bends towards justice, and depends on the rule of law, whether that system will prevail. This is the struggle we're now in. A struggle for democracy, a struggle for decency and dignity, a struggle for prosperity and progress, a struggle for the very soul of America itself. Make no mistake, democracy is on the ballot for all of us. We must remember that democracy is a covenant. We need to start looking out for each other again, seeing ourselves as we the people, not as entrenched enemies. This is a choice we can make. Disunion and chaos are not inevitable. There's been anger before in America. There's been division before in America. But we've never given up on the American experiment. We can't do that now. The remarkable thing about American democracy is this: just enough of us, on just enough occasions, have chosen not to dismantle democracy, but to preserve democracy. We must choose that path again. Because democracy is on the ballot, we have to remember that even in our darkest moments, there are fundamental values and beliefs that unite us as Americans. And they must unite us now. What are they? Well, I think first, we believe the vote in America is sacred, to be honored, not denied, respected, not dismissed, counted, not ignored. A vote is not a partisan tool to be counted when it helps your candidates and tossed aside when it doesn't. Second, we must, with an overwhelming voice, stand against political violence and voter intimidation, period. Stand up and speak against it. We don't settle our differences in America with a riot, a mob, or a bullet, or a hammer. We settle them peaceably at the ballot box. We have to be honest with ourselves, though. We have to face this problem. We can't turn away from it. We can't pretend it's just going to solve itself. There's an alarming rise in the number of our people in this country condoning political violence or simply remaining silent, because silence is complicity. The disturbing rise of voter intimidation, the pernicious tendency to excuse political violence, or at least trying to explain it away. We can't allow this sentiment to grow. We must confront it head on now. It has to stop now. I believe the voices excusing or calling for violence and intimidation are a distinct minority in America. But they're loud and they are determined. We have to be more determined. All of us who reject political violence and voter intimidation, and I believe that's the overwhelming majority of the American people, all of us must unite to make it absolutely clear that violence and intimidation have no place in America. And third, we believe in democracy. That's who we are as Americans. I know it isn't easy. Democracy is imperfect. It always has been. but we are all called to defend it now. History and common sense tell us that liberty, opportunity, and justice thrive in a democracy, not in an autocracy. At our best, America is not a zero-sum society where for you to succeed, someone else has to fail. I promise America is big enough. It's big enough for everyone to succeed. Every generation opening the door of opportunity just a little bit wider. Every generation, including those who've been excluded before. We believe we should leave no one behind because each one of us is a child of God. And every person is sacred. If that's true, then every person's rights must be sacred as well. Individual dignity, individual worth, individual determination. That's America. That's democracy. And that's what we have to defend. Look, even as I speak here tonight,
they decided to do this a
27
couple
million
days ago, I
people
think.
have already cast their ballot in the midterm elections. Millions more will cast their ballots in the final days leading up to November the 8th, excuse me. And for the first time, this is the first time since the national election of 2020, once again, we're seeing record turnout all over the country. And that's good. We want Americans to vote. We want every American's voice to be heard. Now we have to move the process forward. We know that more and more ballots are cast in early voting or by mail in America. We know that many states don't start counting those ballots till after the polls close on November 8th. That means in some cases we won't know the winner of the election for a few days, until a few days after the election. It takes time to count all legitimate ballots in a legal and orderly manner. It's always been important for citizens in democracy to be informed and engaged. Now it's important for citizens to be patient as well. That's how it's supposed to work. This is also the first election since the events of January 6th, when the armed angry mob stormed the U.S. Capitol. I wish I could say the assault on our democracy had ended that day, but I cannot. As I stand here today, there are candidates running for every level of office in America, for governor, Congress, Attorney General, Secretary of State, who won't commit. They will not commit to accepting the results of elections that they're running in. This is a path to chaos in America. It's unprecedented. It's unlawful. And it's un-American. As I've said before, you can't love your country only when you win. This is no ordinary year. So I ask you to think long and hard about the moment we're in. In a typical year, we're often not faced with questions of whether the vote we cast will preserve democracy or put us at risk. But this year we are. This year, I hope you'll make the future of our democracy an important part of your decision to vote and how you vote. I hope you'll ask a simple question of each candidate you might vote for. Will that person accept the legitimate will of the American people, of the people voting in his district or her district? Will that person accept the outcome of the election, win or lose? The answer to that question is vital. And in my opinion, it should be decisive. On the answer to that question hangs the future of the country we love so much and the fate of the democracy that has made so much possible for us. Too many people have sacrificed too much for too many years for us to walk away from the American project in democracy. Because we've enjoyed our freedoms for so long, it's easy to think they'll always be with us no matter what. But that isn't true today. In our bones, we know democracy is at risk. But we also know this. It's within our power, each and every one of us, to preserve our democracy. And I believe we will. I think I know this country. I know we will. You have the power. It's your choice. It's your decision. The fate of the nation, the fate of the soul of America lies where it always does, with the people, in your hands, in your heart, and your ballot. My fellow Americans, we'll meet this moment. We just need to remember who we are. We are the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. May God bless you all. May God protect our troops. May God bless those standing guard over our democracy. Thank you, and Godspeed.
Yeah, that's a rock solid speech. There you go. Meanwhile, let me get back to this. Hi, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. We took a break there to watch Biden live. Excellent points and well carried as a speech, and ultimately a bipartisan speech, an American speech. The point is, vote, show the direction you want the country to go at the ballot box. And don't harass or intimidate your fellow Americans if you lose or even if you win. Be, humble in loss and gracious in victory in that. So great stuff. And thank you guys for, sitting with me through it. I know the sort of methodology of this show is different, but occasionally, we drop in on things just to see what normal life is actually like, what reality is like. And back to our regularly scheduled collapse of the Republican Party. Ladies and gentlemen, this would be Newsmax. Sean Spicer is attacking Mitch McConnell with a reference that I suppose is supposed to be that bitch. That's, in theory, where I think they're going. It's adorable. So just by the way, when you think it's just how they treat Democrats or minorities or people they consider less than them, that's how they treat everybody. And again, before we even start this, I would like to reiterate one of the many ethical baselines of the show, which is we never wish physical ill on anyone. Political violence is not necessary, nor is it valuable. And if you really want to, especially when it comes from people who don't vote on the regular and have to be motivated, I think it'd be inspired to vote, but you don't have to be inspired to wish death on somebody. It doesn't fly around here. It never will. And if you like that kind of thing, there are plenty of channels out there for you. The doom sprayers are all over the place. Oh, you got banned from Hassan's show for talking shit on progressives that are talking shit on Dems all week? Calling this week, I confronted him on 3 points. Yeah, he tends to do that. It's very weird. He called you a bitch and banned you? Well, Hassan is an inherently weak human being. And I don't know that he has any kind of genuine ethics or principle in and of himself. I mean, I know he sells certain ones, but I don't know that they're based on anything or there's any reality to them. Again, multi-million-dollar house, but believes in communism, doesn't believe in private property. It's a goof. It's fucking ridiculous. It's just silly. Like, don't even... again, if you're talking in those kind of absolutes, you're going to get called out in an absolute way. So, anyways, let's take a look at this. No, not Hassan Minhaj. Hassan Abi. It's Cenk Uyghur's nephew, Hassan Piker. Yeah. No on political violence, and he calls for political violence a bunch, and then goes in a video game as if he's, so people like it's code, like people don't think he's kidding. It's fucked up. No, 100 times no. Fucking, it's how children talk. Ugh. Many Twitch streamers don't talk sense. Well, that's understood. I'm one of the few, the proud, the Twitch streamers. I'm a professional streamer. I don't know if I told you that. Venmo, like and subscribe, thumbs up, support the show. Ha ha ha. Anyways, okay, here we go. Now, if I may, that Mitch. Mitch McConnell is just looking, this is titled, Mitch McConnell is just looking out for himself. Now, I am very sorry I don't have popcorn. I feel bad that I do not have popcorn. We enjoy some Republican lag wrestling, but there you go. I'm very curious. I think Mitch McConnell just dumped a bunch of money in a bunch of states where they're trying to, at least make a good show. I don't even know what the fucking complaint is. Okay, sorry, hold on. I gotta click on this.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell seems to be at odds right now with the Republican Party's new and emerging power base, and he's
the new and emerging power base. That would be, just so for the who's at home, that's the maggots that are being fleeced regularly by Donald Trump, and he's using their money to pay his bills and keeps his lights on at his fucking stupid Bedminster club where he's having dinner with the Daily Wire in a couple days.
Backing away from MAGA candidates who are in close contests with their Democratic rivals. These races,
you mean the ones that are going to lose,
could decide who controls,
and also are going to destroy the electoral system going forward, and will curb stomp regular Republicans, metaphorically.
The Senate after the elections. McConnell has been censored by the GOP leadership in Alaska over his support for Lisa Murkowski.
You mean the one that can win?
They have the rank and choice voting in Alaska, and GOP voters there preferred upstart Kelly Tshibaka over Murkowski, who claims to be a Republican, but she votes with Democrats most of the time. Now, the GOP...
No, she does not.
GOP leader's super PAC...
She fucking so does not vote most of the time with Democrats.
...is also fighting with billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel,
who wants to denounce his American citizenship and live on a fucking oil rig. Bye-bye, dummy.
And his super PAC over Blake Masters in the Arizona Senate race. Masters is neck and neck with Democrat incumbent Mark Kelly. McConnell has also pulled more than $5 million in ad money from New Hampshire in the Senate race there. Still, General...
Because it's a loser.
John Bolduc is battling closely with Senator Maggie Hassan, who's considered one of the most vulnerable Democrats on the ballot this November. Joining us now for more on this is host of Spicer and Company, Sean Spicer.
I love when shows interview their own co-network hosts. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. I think nothing says success and the ability to get an inside take on things and really get on the ground reporting, like asking somebody down the hall to come onto your show for a little bit and promote their show on your network a little bit later. I fucking hate it when CNN and MSNBC do it. I think it's fucking dumb. It drives me crazy. It's lazy.
Great to have you with us, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, guys. Good to see you both.
Well, I mean,
I haven't seen you since the coffee machine.
This is kind of Mitch McConnell. He wants the Senate that he wants, right? And he obviously
he wants control of the actual Senate. This is again the fucking thing. Like these assholes. Like, Trump really knows what's up. If you want to listen, if you got total instincts, talk to Trump. Trump knows who's going to get elected. He picked Walker. He picked Oz. Shit. Anyways, forget that. He really knows what he's doing. He's got great natural political instincts. That's why he's a one-termer.
Likes Lisa Murkowski more than Kelly Tshibaka. But how many issues is it going to cause for Mitch McConnell?
Apparently, this is either an old photo from a period of COVID, or they're allergic to turtles. It could be either way.
If Republicans do win back control of the House and guys like Blake Masters do win.
Well, so let's take Alaska. Number one, it shouldn't be that surprising that he's backing incumbents. And number two, I mean,
why, Sean? You're there for the why, dum-dum. Why is it that he's backing incumbents? Because they have the best chance of keeping their seat, and that they can't afford to lose any seats, and having a dick-wagging contest in a seat in a district you already have, or a Senate seat you already have, is a waste of fucking time.
Either way, you're going to get Murkowski or Tshibaka. So Republicans are going to hold.
Hold on. Somebody said, what was this again? I said in Hassan's chat, AOC should have worn the Eat the Rich dress to the red carpet and then left and ate at McDonald's if she meant it, and gave her tickets to a poor person, and Hassan went batshit. They hate the fucking squad now too. I don't know that again, no standard. I'm sorry, Sean. Did we put you to sleep with a conversation in the chat?
But look, if you're McConnell, if Republicans take the majority, which I think they will, McConnell knows that Murkowski will be a vote to keep him as majority leader. So this is a very selfish move by him. He knows that Chewbacca wouldn't support him as majority leader. So he.
Well, of course not, because obviously Mitch McConnell is Team Kylo Ren.
He's going to do everything he can in his self-interest to support whomever is the candidate that will keep him in power. That's the case clearly in Alaska. And then in Arizona, I think it's a unique situation. You've got a
By the way, is that the Washington Masonic Memorial behind him? I think it is. Love that place.
A billionaire like Peter Thiel, who came in, pushed for Blake Masters to be the nominee, funded him in the primary, and I think McConnell's saying, all right, he's your guy, you funded him. I have a lot of places where I can go to expand the map, whether it's Colorado, Washington, wherever. You should help him now go over the finish line. I shouldn't have to come in and use the money that I've raised to help your guy when you've got plenty of millions of dollars. At least I think that's the argument that they're making.
Yeah, it's a decent argument. Thiel's a billionaire.
But the argument I think that GOP voters are making, especially as it relates to Alaska, is, yeah, you know, of course he's supporting incumbents. You expect the GOP leader to do that, but she doesn't vote with Republicans or with the, you know, most Republicans or where the sentiment of the Republican Party is right now. She doesn't vote that way.
She does. That was his dodge, where the sentiment in the Republican Party is right now.
Right. I mean, and not only that, but she has come out and said that she will be casting her vote in the House race in Alaska for the Democrat incumbent, Mary Pelolta. That's odd. I mean, the idea, and so I think McConnell would have been smart just to sit this one out, to be honest with you. But the reality is, John, like I said, I mean,
why would he sit this out? He's the fucking Senate minority leader.
He wants to stay leader of the party and particularly be majority leader again. And he knows that.
What a nutty concept, because without it, his Kentucky gets fuck all.
Lisa Murkowski, if she gets reelected, which through this ranked choice voting system that they put in place, largely to save her, will give him one guaranteed more vote. So this is, as I said earlier, just more of McConnell looking out for himself than anything else.
And, you know, obviously, we'll see what happens in New Hampshire. We have these ties, Sean. So I want to ask you particularly about the Bolduc-Hassan race because, you know, the Senate Leadership Fund pulled that $5.6 million. But then you had the NRSC jumping back in saying we have 7 figures. This is a tight race. And, you know, between Bolduc and Hassan, money matters in these final days. What do you think of the late support there? And is there even ad space for these buys?
No.
It's interesting, Bianca. I mean, it's the Boston media market, so there's not a ton of other competition. You haven't seen a real robust race up there for governor.
Hey, you can just buy a bunch of ads on Rumble,
Massachusetts, so that you don't have a lot you have a lot more inventory than you would in a competitive space. So the New Hampshire race, you do have both the 1st and the 2nd congressional district there that are buying up a lot. So you know, rates have gone up.
No. They bought it up months ago, stupid.
But there is still space. It's a small.
No, there isn't.
State, obviously.
If you want to use like $5 million to buy 5 ads, because that's all that's left.
Meaning that you can do a lot of hand-to-hand, door-to-door, person-to-person. Maggie Hassan was governor before she was in the Senate. She barely won her last race for the Senate. She wasn't a very popular governor. I think that General Bolduc has that in his favor, and he's gotten a lot of support at the end. The momentum's going with him. That's the thing that people have to remember. It's not just, when you look at these polls, it's not just a snapshot of where things are. That's true. But it's also the momentum, the direction that things are moving in, and in pretty much all throughout the country, but especially in New Hampshire, that.
Oh my God, just fucking gibberish.
Momentum is with not just Bolduc, but both the 1st and the 2nd district. We had former Governor John Sununu on our program the other night, and he was making it very clear, if Governor Chris Sununu, his son, wins by 15, 16 points, which is very likely, he will help pull both of not just the Senate candidates, but both the 1st and the 2nd congressional district candidates, Burns.
Yes, he has to win by like 15 points to help these 2 candidates. What?
and Levitt over the finish line.
And you have to wonder, too, how much that factored into Mitch McConnell's calculus here. You know, you might not like the moves he's making, but he is a wise old sage, Mitch McConnell. And what you were talking
A wise old sage.
about, Sean, that grassroots, ground level support that Bulldog has in New Hampshire, I saw that when I was on the ground there, too. That might be factored in here.
He was that drunk, I think.
Because, as you mentioned, how many TV commercials in Boston are going to sway the voters of New Hampshire, which are some of the most sophisticated when it comes to politics in the country?
And left-leaning, frankly, too, in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts.
Oh, way to blow it for everybody. They almost had it. They were so excited. And then you fucked it up by mentioning that fact.
And also, right, and I think, look, at the end of the day, everyone's got to remember there are limited resources. And everybody's saying, you know, I want you.
Why is that? Oh, because Donald Trump is hoovering up all the small donor cash and shitting it out.
To spend more money here. Help me, save me, expand the map here. And so, you know, it's easy to spend somebody else's money.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you know.
Well, you have to, it's not. You have to get it first.
When we wake up on November 9th, there's going to be a lot of people who say, see, you should have spent more money here or you wasted your money.
What I tell you, they've seen the fucking numbers. All this bullshit about momentum.
There. So some of these decisions, you know, we'll be able to play Wednesday morning quarterback on November 9th
maybe
and figure out who made the right decisions.
The Wednesday morning after, the week after the election, or however long it's going to take. And as you earlier indicated to us, Sean, some of this too is CYA spending, just to make sure you're checking off boxes. Yes, I put some money here. I got that person on my side for future.
And I think Peter Thiel will be okay. He's already
dumped,
all right.
$15 million into the primary.
He'll be all right. All right, Sean, great to see you. We'll see you at 6 p.m. tonight. Or 5 p.m., I should say.
Yeah, he should. That's when his show is on. Way to fuck it up right on the day. Like, she mentions New Hampshire's going to usually go left and won't help anybody on their side, and it's already fucked up, and then you have to throw in that you screw up. This is great. I appreciate the level of quality that I get from a Newsmax broadcast. I haven't seen this. I mean, this is, if WKRP was all Herb Tarlick, this is what you would get.
You bet.
Thanks,
5 p.m.
5 p.m. I got to get used to no.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how.
I'm not going to tell you to think at all. That's the great thing about Newsmax. Newsmax doesn't tell me to think. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite is true.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
I trust Newsmax. This is an audition, and they didn't pay me. Why did they just use my audition and never actually...
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
By the way, if your message is, we don't tell you how to think, don't have a bunch of people doing a cascade monologue come in and repeat words like they're fucking Manchurian candidates, fuckhead. It's so weird. All right, so we'll finish. I got some time left. It might be a little less time than I normally have, but ladies and gentlemen, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. Next up, I know, some of you are going to run for the doors. It's we got to cover it on occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, Rusty Trombone himself, the hippie Alex Jones, is got a video titled "Oh Shit, It's Really Happening." Now, we've noted before that this the conspiracy is already occurring style of titles for this stuff. And then the "oh shit" part where he or "oh fuck" where he asterisks out the vowel in the swear word in an attempt to I guess stand on top of the idea that people who swear are more honest. Is that what he's doing? So this is hopefully not too terribly long. We'll see.
Hey, 99% of people with an IRA or 401k will not see this video. And
good news, everyone.
Oh, fuck me. Relax. Good news, everyone. The IMF,
politicians, and the private sector are all getting together to discuss central bank digital currencies. That means that we won't need cash no more, and we can be monitored all the time. That's going to be a much better society.
Oh, my God. Okay, so central bank digital currency. That's a crypto, a blockchain form of monetary exchange. Basically, the Fed bonds and the way the Fed trades money from bank to bank will now be done in a blockchain format, which is easier to track and harder to fake, is the idea. But what it means is that we're going to move to a cashless society, and they're going to know all the naughty things you spend your money on, and that was the plan all along because he says so.
For everyone, and definitely won't lead to social credit scores and being manipulated and having your bank shut down, will it? Surely.
And by the way, the title of this is "Oh shit, it's really happening." So apparently, it's already happening.
What are you thinking? What you? There's a lot of talk about digital currencies.
Yeah. What's a digital currency, Russell?
People are excited about Bitcoin and those ones that sound like Ethereum and metals from superhero movies that could change the world, those kind of ones. Imperium, Objectivo, those kind of currencies. Well, new Prime Minister of UK and Goldman Sachs, former Employee of the Year and WEF protege, and I hope none of these things contradict one another or bring about a conflict of interest.
Well, I don't really care because you guys pulled out of the EU and you're basically an island currency at this point anyways, so don't really give a fuck. Up to you guys if you want to do that. Meanwhile, you're also not a reserve currency. The pound is not, there's not enough of it in circulation to matter on the world scale. That's why pulling out of the EU was such a, the euro especially was particularly damaging to the UK economy and why it's eating shit right now.
Rishi Sunak, or Radish Sinatra, as your President Joe Biden calls him.
Rishi Sunak is now the Prime Minister.
Is a keen advocate of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Here he is, in fact, advocating for them.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote.
I like it, because we've got a broad concept to, what if this person's an idiot? Which we think that they are. It's like...
All right. People don't necessarily know what a CBDC is, and he is explaining it in a way that it's relatively new. I don't know why this is a dunk. This is just Russell trying to inject himself into this conversation apropos of nothing.
Like a digital penny for your digital money box, for your digital shithole that you live in. You will owe nothing. You will be happy.
Okay, again, this is the World Economic Forum.
That could be...
I don't know what the fuck pig noise thing was. Is that a Olaf Schultz reference, or is it a reference to this guy? Oh, or Animal Farm? What do we think?
Used alongside physical notes and coins.
For now, till we phase them out, if you start any little trucker protests, oh, where's my money gone?
First of all, everybody uses a digital form of money right now, asshole. It's called a credit card or a debit card. Nobody goes to a fucking store when they pay with a debit card and goes to a machine, like literally to an ATM, pays for it there, and then has to hand it in cash to the cashier who puts it back into a machine.
Good news,
for
everyone.
Fuck's sake.
The IMF...
Oh, for fuck's sake. I jumped back. Sorry, I hit my own.
Oh, really? They're working together? Well, that's just such great news. The IMF, the World Bank. Why don't we involve the WEF and the WHO? What we need are...
Also, unrelated. The WEF is not a world... It's not a World Bank... is not an institution that affects monetary policy. It's a discussion forum. It's like the Council on Foreign Affairs.
Unelected global bodies that have...
You elected him!
...been able to co-opt political power, respond to financial...
Co-opt political power? You're literally talking about a bunch of democracies meeting together. We elect our leaders meet with other democracies, and they talk about this shit. What the fuck?
Power and ignore and oppress ordinary people, whether it's the recent medical emergency or the cost of living crisis.
The recent medical emergency, which is we're supposed to take away, by the way, is bullshit.
We're seeing the benefits all around us. I can't wait for your next policy. You're going to take our money now. This is great.
Looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice.
I think I know what it means in practice.
I think you don't.
More power for you, no power for us.
Who's us, motherfucker? You're worth like, how much? What's his net worth again? 18 million?
Includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient.
Oh, it's got to be energy efficient. I was about to say, is it energy efficient? Is it energy efficient? I've got to make sure.
All right. They have just started doing this jump in, jump out, physical cut. Oh, he was appointed prime minister. He won a general election. Good point. Ours were, let's just say, and the rest of the countries were. But you also elected the party that chose him as the prime minister until you have another general, for the record. But this like jumpy back and forth is, I mean, is there a cult reason for this? Did they have like, what would, if Jim Jones was a streamer, what would he do? Is there a pamphlet?
Oh, a few other questions. You wouldn't use this ever, would you, to implement control or to advance social credit type systems or to shut down the bank accounts of people you disagree with or to surveil people and have a surveillance network that you've developed in conjunction with big tech and now a financial arm that you're developing so that you can...
Somebody's been smoking a heavier strain of weed lately. This is coming from a guy, by the way, who lives in a country where the cops don't have guns. So the idea is that they, and some of them do now, but the idea being that that if you have cops that arm themselves in any country in the world, because like the U.S., Canadian cops, whatever, Mexico, everybody, that's a slippery slope. Everything is a slippery slope too. The military is going to police the public and there'll be a soldier outside your door and you'll have to get their permission to go outside and we're basically China now. Like that's where everything fucking goes. We elect our leaders so that so that there's a tug and pull between this kind of stuff and how available it is and what the rules will be about it. Because I got news for you. Some form of like digital credit worldwide will exist at some point. And having rules about how you do it, and especially doing pilot programs to see if it will work and what the limitations are, is valuable whenever any new kind of technology comes online. Matter of fact, one of the reasons why we have so much problem with social media is because it was kind of just a blank flood. Nobody quite knew what the system was, and then boom, here it was. I mean, the bulletin board systems of the late 80s and early 90s were rife with racists and all kinds of awful. And so when it turned over into the more open social media stuff like Facebook and MySpace, there was this idea that it would shape up because it was more like the public square. And in reality, they had to set a shit ton of rules. And the terms of service had to get deeper and thicker all the time. Hello. Because you had to, they would always find a way around it.
Lockstep together and gridlock us in a digital prison of surveillance tyranny. That's just off the top of my head.
Would be...
Well, of course it is. That's the only thing on your head, you dizzy fuck.
Energy efficient.
Bitcoin and those other digital currencies that we don't control, they're bad.
They are incredibly inefficient. As a matter of fact, and by the way, they also suck and are nonsense because they're not pegged to anything, so they don't have any value. And having a digital version of a currency that you actually manage in your country makes a whole lot of sense. But let's see. As of August 2022, published estimates of the total global electricity usage for crypto assets are between 120 and 240 billion kilowatt hours per year, a range that exceeds the total annual electricity usage of Argentina or Australia. Bitcoin mining, and I guess other cryptos, use more energy when being mined than the entire country of Australia. So yes, it does fucking matter. And they eat up all the NVIDIA fucking cards and you can't buy any.
They're not energy efficient. This one that we will control, that'll be energy efficient.
It's fucking, look, I wonder how this asshole feels about stablecoins. Stablecoins are private cryptos that are pegged to a nation's currency, mainly the United States dollar. So it would be affected by any changes in the dollar. The manipulation of the dollar from within could affect that currency. You could fuck with people who had it if you were fucking with your own currency, and you'd be fine. And so therefore, you are reliant on the success of the US dollar. Hence the BRICS, petro crypto that they were putting together, which was pegged to the US dollar, is fucking hilarious because they need the US dollar to remain strong and healthy. Otherwise, their cryptocurrency falls into disrepair. Again, this is all just conspiracy theory shit. This is just, again, hippie Alex Jones, hippie David Icke, whatever.
So yeah, it's about energy efficiency. It's not about control. Control's like a side effect, just the side effect. Sorry, what? It's one of my eyes stopped moving.
And available to...
That's a Katy Perry reference.
To everyone.
Who I believe he used to fornicate with.
Except poor people.
A potential CBDC.
I'll send you an NVIDIA card for free. Oh, thanks. Is it the 4000 series? All right.
Could offer businesses and consumers new ways to pay in the future.
I expect it'd be convenient, would it? Would it be nice and convenient? Could I have some convenience, please? It'd be so convenient to be in my cell, all lathered up with a nice bubble bath of convenience.
It's all
right, I don't know what the fuck that is. They thought that was cute. They spent time on that. They did. Went out, they picked a bubble sound effect. They got a little PNG of a bubble bath from someplace, probably have an account for clip art that they pulled it from. They decided to pop the word around him to... Is he losing audience now that he's moved over to Rumble, and so now they're trying to... Or is there a rule about holding Rumble's attention? Because I'm going to start streaming to Rumble soon, and I don't want to have to throw fucking graphics all over the goddamn place to remind people. Boink! Do I have to add a bloop effect sound when I go doing? When I do stuff just to succeed on Rumble?
All part of the wider story of digital innovation that has delivered benefits to millions around the world and in the UK.
Well, I was just talking to Edward Snowden and Julian Assange about the benefits delivered around the world, whether it's to the people of Iraq or Afghanistan, or the many people now in Western...
I'm sorry, when did you speak to Edward Snowden? Because he's literally spoken to no one since the war began, if not before that.
Anglophonic countries starving to death and unable to heat their homes. What they need is the small amount of money they have got to...
See that? Yeah, they're just throwing a lot of graphics in. This is an attempt to... This has got to be... There's a hard fade going on. People... I mean, I worry about my show getting repetitive because I deal with these fuckers all the time. But imagine how repetitive their viewers think this shit is.
Disappear into binary code.
These decisions raise important...
Lots of graphics now on Russell's show.
Questions about the reshaping of our economy.
Yeah, I've noticed you've been reshaping it so that ordinary people have no power at all, no alternatives or options, and we can operate entirely at the behest of powerful financial interests like Goldman Sachs. Have you ever heard? You used to work for them. Oh.
Financial system.
Also, what does it stand out to anybody else that I've never seen him break down anybody else, Boris Johnson or anybody else, through their full statement the way he has with this dude? I wonder what's different about this dude.
Systems and the way in which people interact with money and payments.
What, like through like a massive hedge fund that funded Moderna? You used to be part of a hedge fund that funded Moderna. Oh!
Oh, yeah. Moderna that makes one of the functioning vaccines that actually works. Saved millions of lives. What's your fucking point?
Why working together?
Like you work together with your wife, who's like a billionaire. Oh!
In the UK, earlier this year, I announced a new joint task force.
She's not. She's worth $720 million. I guess that's like a billionaire. Because she's an heir to an Indian tech fortune.
Between the Treasury and the Bank of England to look into a potential CBDC as a complement to cash and bank.
Wait a minute. I was promised, excuse me, I was promised, oh shit, it's really happening. Nobody said anything about a fucking commission that would look into the potential possibilities of the kind of maybe at some point we might actually do CBDCs if they work out, we'll see.
bank deposits.
It's just a compliment. It's a lovely little compliment. Over here, you've got your money in the bank. Over here, you've got your digital thing. Oh no, what's this one doing? Oh look, it's facing it out, look. Oh now what's happening? We're in digital prison.
I don't know where the fuck... I'm losing track of what his actual point is, other than any kind of government existing will eventually turn into Mao's China or the USSR, and no one has any say in it, and anything new is a sign of an evil conspiratorial scheme.
We're also hearing from firms, technology experts and others. Under the leadership of the UK, this report today will help support and inform exploration of CBDCs in the G7 and beyond.
They're already talking in code with the acronyms and the shortened terms CBDC, G7, because they have access to so much technology and so much.
You think they fucking invented that? I'm very curious, Russell. How do you feel about the GOP?
Data. They want to make us into machines. They want to make...
No, they don't. I think Elon Musk does with the Neuralink thing.
Us into data, into entirely information. A component of humanity is doubtlessly our intelligence, but what of...
Well, you know. You would be the exception, Russell.
Our awareness. What about the aspect of a human being that is difficult to define, describe, discern, or tie down? The aspect of you and of me that amounts to our spirit.
Just the stupid. It hurts. Hey, fucko, that doesn't go away. I mean, you could say the same kind of bullshit about vehicles. You know, if everyone uses cars to drive everywhere, you know, what about astral projection? Or how I feel if I say, if you have to hire movers to move the things in your house, how does that affect when I feel moved by a Kleenex ad? You know?
Our nature. That...
Who gives a shit? You would argue that when things are less complicated, requiring less of your spirit and your nature to do them, then you could spend that spirit and nature on the things that they were naturally spirited to do.
That which cannot be governed and controlled. Will they not rest until every aspect of human life is tied down and...
Who the fuck is they, dummy? You think Rishi Sunak wants to, like, put people in soul prison? For fuck's sake. Look, I recognize Alex Jones took himself out, so it's not a real meritocracy in who's going to be the next Alex Jones. If it, you know, given time, maybe somebody would have gotten their skills together as a broadcaster and as a storyteller and as a conspiracy monger, and they would have elbowed him out. But apparently he decided to take himself out by being a complete asshole. And so everybody who's moving to fill in never really had to grow, never really had to develop any fucking skill. They can just blather about some rando point, assume the they-them storyline, and just act as if.
Digitized until every aspect of your life can be controlled and monitored. Your private conversations with your doctor now subject to state edicts. Your protests shut down.
Oh, you mean like Republicans trying to outlaw abortion because Dr. Oz think that a woman's choice whether or not to have an abortion should be between her doctor, and the local politicians?
Your every conversation observed. Your entire life just data points in the hands of Google and Facebook and...
No, that's not even possible. Even if they wanted it, they would still only segment out things that would give them a false impression.
Apple, what are they turning us into?
Nothing. They're not turning you into anything. You're either going willingly or you're fucking gullible and following this fuckhead around. Nothing. Look, there was a period, I'd like to remind everyone where shitheads like this were telling everybody that the internet and fluoride in the water was going to make everybody pliant and easy to control. Look around you. Does the world look pliant and easy to fucking control? If they had this big fucking plan to control everybody and manipulate them, does it look like it's fucking working? This is also one of the assholes who thinks that the vaccines are the way to poison people and depopulate the earth. So what the government wants to do is kill all the people that don't want to spread disease and want to be productive members of society and leave themselves alone on a planet with psycho QAnon assholes who guzzle Alex Jones dick pills, listen to this prick, and want to bang down their door with a sledgehammer. How does this make any fucking sense?
They are turning us into machines.
No, they are not. And here's the other thing. The arrogance of this prick. That somehow they're turning us, he doesn't mean us, he means you. He's fine. He's somehow immune. He can take in all this shit and it just bounces off him. He's not gullible. He's not a sucker. He's not easily guided. He's operating within the system, but he is not of the system. You, on the other hand, because you're watching him, they're out to get you. They're coming for your brain, for your very soul.
They are denying us our humanness,
No, they are. How is the Bank of London creating a digital currency that operates in concert with printed currency, as it kind of does now, but just has a better chain of custody on it because of blockchain, the same way all the cryptos work? How is that digital fucking slate? All right.
Ability to disagree, our ability to be unusual, our ability to be strange, our right to be who we are, our right to freedom.
Your right to be who you are? Look, I know I stink, but I'm guessing he does all the time too. Secondarily, no.
With these principles...
Principles? Sorry, principles? Do you not mean evil master plan?
Okay, again, fuck you. You don't get to project onto other people your own paranoid psycho horseshit and punch in like that when it's not based on any fucking thing. This is a video statement he made to the G7 about CBDCs. Who gives a goddamn?
G7 is leading an important step change in the global policy conversation. Our shared objective is to ensure that CBDCs will be grounded in long-standing commitments to transparency.
Because you've been very good at that. You've been very good at that. I noticed during the lockdown there, all the transparency, while our government were having parties, where various state officials in America were having parties, where...
Oh, he means Boris Johnson and Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, who was at dinner with a bunch of people who were vaccinated. They just didn't wear masks when they were together because they were vaccinated. And Boris Johnson was at a party where everyone was vaccinated and they didn't wear masks while they were vaccinated. Also, we didn't have lockdowns in California when that was going on. Schools were shut down. There were some churches that were, like close gatherings because people weren't vaccinated yet. The state officials had all done it, but we hadn't reached a level where it was safe yet. Those people all were. Same thing with Boris Johnson and everybody that was at that fucking party there. Although they were on the AstraZeneca, so I don't know how quality that vaccine turned out to be.
Redacted documents from Pfizer just disappear like Kaiser Soze.
And like that, he's gone.
No, you're the guys to bring us transparency. Keep talking.
The rule of law and sound economic.
Also, Russell, who runs your show? Who operates behind the scenes? I mean, Can't Stop Lying sends me clips to respond to so that I don't see stuff that I've already watched, so that I can respond to these things raw. And that's it. My chat is here. I talk to my chat. Sometimes they interject things. Sometimes they request things. Sometimes they bring things up and I bring them in and I try to reference them when they do. But Russell has a whole team of people, including a producer that we've only seen once on his live stream that sits off there that seems to have some sort of editorial drive or control. What's that guy's story? Why aren't you being transparent, Russell? Why is it just the Russell Brand show if there's all these other people working behind the scenes? There was an army of production people. Are there writers? Are there producers? What's the financing like? Where was the initial financing to blow the show up? Why aren't you being...
Governance. The G7 will continue its work in this important area, working with others to enhance understanding and use of these principles.
Do you think if you keep saying the word principles, we'll mistakenly think you have some?
We're excited to be taking...
Okay, there's ethical principles, and then there's principles of understanding in a topic. Our principal argument is this, this, and this. Our principal points of contention are this, this, and this. That's what he means by principles, fuckhead. It's a different form of principles. At this point, he's gonna start talking about Principal Perry from Lab Rats.
A leading role with G7 members in publishing this exploratory work, bringing money and finance into the 21st century.
Let's look at it in a bit more detail. During the 2022 IMF World Bank Group annual meetings, Cecilia Skingsley, head of the Innovation Hub at the Bank for International Settlements, agreed with other speakers who said introducing a CBDC is not a universal solution and should instead come together with digital IDs in a package. You've tried a few times to get that package, I've noticed. People are commenting too much. What if they had a package to make sure that everyone's taken the right medicine? But I thought that medicine... We just need the package, thank you.
All right, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, neither does he.
IMF Deputy Managing Director, Bo Lee.
The package of digital IDs, meaning like some sort of updated passport or driver's license kind of blockchain awareness so that those are clear so you can't create fake ones like Matt Gates' buddy did.
Singled it out as one of the challenges in introducing CBDC. We need a better understanding of what's the cause, what's driving that hesitancy. I keep hearing this word hesitancy. Normally, it's a total lack of trust. One way to...
No, it's not. Normally, by the way, it's a total lack of understanding. It's not that people don't trust it, it's just they don't know what it's for. It's, by the way, what's killing crypto right now. What the fuck is it for? If you're not a drug dealer or a human trafficker, the fuck do you need Bitcoin for other than to park millions and hope it goes up because drug dealing and human trafficking is a growth industry?
To resolve it relates back to our data question. That is, if we can create enough value, if by joining the ecosystem, if consumers can enjoy a lot more financial services, if they can get credit, maybe they will be willing to join the ecosystem, said Lee. Sounds like a nice ecosystem. Don't sound like I'll be spied on in there or controlled in there. I don't know why I'm so hesitant. Lee also explained...
Okay, again, the pattern just seems to be that I'm just asking questions kind of like, I'm just suspicious of the whole thing. I'm hesitant because I don't trust any government institutions. This fucking guy lives under a lot of them, takes all of them for granted, doesn't blow off traffic signs because of some controlling person trying to throttle traffic in parts of town to destroy the economies of other areas. Doesn't do any of that shit. Doesn't, if he goes up to the counter when he's flying someplace and they ask for his passport or his ID, he doesn't go, the fuck you need to see that for? It's none of your goddamn business. None of that. He just takes it for granted and buzzes right along and then sells this fucking paranoia daily.
And how institutions could take advantage of CBDC data by following the model of the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, I love the Chinese Communist Party. What I like about them mostly, I think, is the amount of freedom they give everyone. Where non-traditional data can be very useful for financial service providers to give me a credit score. Yeah, non-traditional data, not just stuff that I willingly give, stuff that...
Also, by the way, this is a round table where everybody's piping in. And this woman with a seemingly Chinese name brings up China.
You take without telling me. In 2021, the Bank of England called on ministers to decide...
By the way, we are jumping to a different article and a different publication.
Whether a central bank digital currency should be programmable, ultimately giving the issuer control over how it's spent by the recipient. Wow, that's what you want. Control over how you spend your money. That wouldn't be misused.
What they're talking about is like EBT payments. So that if you give somebody money for something, they can only spend it on food and not drugs, for example. It's like a better way to run the welfare system is essentially it. So you make sure that the help you're giving people actually goes there.
Used by
or if you're a bank and you're issuing money to someone to buy a house, it will only work if you actually spend it on that house. So people can't engage in Trumpian mortgage scams.
Powerful corporate state. Tom Mutton, a director at the Bank of England, said there could be some socially beneficial outcomes. Socially beneficial outcomes. Preventing activity which is seen to be socially harmful in some way. I see that as socially harmful in some way. Would you stop it? No, smart, right, I'm free. I said, would you stop it? Ah! Me pennies is all gone, but me piggy bank, mister. That's right. That's socially beneficial for you to shut the fuck up. You could think of giving your children pocket money, but programming the money so that it couldn't be used on sweets. So much is revealed by the analogy. They think of us as children.
By the way, they don't think of you as children. They're talking about EBTs in that article. This conversation has come up a lot.
Over whom they oughtn't relinquish ultimate control.
No. Anybody who's coming to you for help, like what they would use it for and what they're talking about is when people are asylum seekers and they're in England and they've sought asylum there. And this is why conservatives are talking about this. That when they give welfare help to asylum seekers, they're making sure that that help is actually used to feed and house them and not for other stuff. This is not about ordinary currency. That's why it's in concert with other shit.
This is about nothing less than your freedom.
No, it's about honest exchange in this particular case, what he's talking about.
Who you are. Don't forget, but recall in addition to your sexuality and your self-expression as an individual member of your class, religion, whatever, your actual freedom to do stuff. You don't be regarded as a child who wants sweets. There is a whole range of things that money...
Hold on one second. Bank of England tells minister to intervene on digital currency programming. Hold on. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene. That should be enough to find the article. One thing. There we go. This is an article from June 21st. Bank of... hold on one second. Bank of... hold on. Get out of here. Oh, you fucker. Continue reading this article. Okay. The bank... you rat. Hold on. Mind Matters AI, Bank of... Okay, this is LinkedIn, Telegraph Business on Twitter. This is on Flipboard. Here's another version of the article. Telegraph UK. You fucker. Hold on. I'm trying to find a version of it that isn't... This is in Yahoo Finance. Oh, that's a video. Not helpful. Cryptocurrency, money trust, and regulation. Okay, yeah, so this relates to that article and borrows part of it. The writer of this guy writes on cryptocurrency, so take that for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt in that regard. The Bank of England is still mulling over the introduction of a central bank digital currency, CBDC, a digital version of notes and coins, directly convertible into cash and deposits. The bank argues this will increase financial inclusion, but introducing the basic bank account has already achieved that. By 2018-2019, the number of unbanked in the UK dropped by just 1.2 million out of a total population of 67. The bank also says the public must have access to faster, cheaper retail payments. That is true, but more and more payment services are already providing just that. So basically, in lieu of a bank account, and this is usually dealing with impoverished people or giant transactions. Meanwhile, the Joint Treasury and the Bank of England CBDC task force continues its work, but without such much indication of how the following hazards will be overcome, if indeed that is possible. The first concern is the effect on credit. The prudent assumption is that 20% of the deposit base of commercial banks could move out of the banking system after the introduction of CBDCs. That is, all the uninsured deposits. Sir John Cunliffe, Deputy Governor for Financial Stability at Bank of England, admits there is no way of knowing the size and speed of that shift. Clearly, the central bank would undercut commercial banks in terms of, okay. Then there are the thorny issues of privacy. This is the part he's talking about. The proposed CBDC structure is a central bank account. Access through payment interface provider, a PIP, responsible for the know your customer requirements. All transactions are recorded on the bank's core ledger, a fast, secure, and resilient technology platform. People could transfer cash from their bank accounts and put the digital cash into a digital wallet authorized and regulated by the authorities. The PIP owns the relationship with the customer and provides them with a value-added payment service. It can only connect with the core ledger through the application program interface. They talk to us like we're children. Potentially, this structure gives the central bank access to data about transactions and personal expenditure. Such data is clearly valuable. Basically, this is, if all the stuff you would pay for in cash, they would see that the same way they see stuff that you pay for with debits or with credit cards. Monetary policy and interest rate changes could have more immediate effects under the current structure of banking system, since it will inevitably restrict the freedom of commercial banks. The bank rate currently influences but does not determine the rate banks charge on loans or pays or deposits. Okay. So it's the same thing. Basically, they'll see your cash exchanges the way, if you use this system, the way they would see debits or cash, which if you're paying digitally, you know this.
Could do programmable money that we cannot do with the current technology, where people will just go around doing what they want, spending their money how they want. That's not good enough at all. PayPal recently shut down the accounts of anti-war publications. Yeah, that was a bit anti-social. Those wars are good.
No, they weren't anti-war at all.
For business. Consortium News.
This is Mint Press, right? PayPal shuts down accounts of anti-war publications, Consortium News and Mint Press News. Yeah, they weren't anti-war.
News and Mint Press News.
I mean, I don't think they should be shut down on PayPal, but don't even pretend that they're anti-war.
At the same time, Facebook and Microsoft are working with several other web giants and the United Nations on a database to block potential extremist content. Extremist. Socially acceptable. Just language, just words closing in like an iron fist around your throat.
Jesus Christ. Don't panic, though. It's totally fine. He's got, if you're feeling a little freaked out right now, I'd like to remind you that Russell sells a meditation program.
Growth of such restrictions could create a system in which individuals who do not hold certain political views could be blocked from polite society and left unable to make a living. It's not polite to destroy people's lives. The potential scope of the social credit...
I don't know. Are they Nazis? Is that the thing? You know, because what they're talking about is if PayPal doesn't want to support a neo-Nazi organization or a neo-Nazi website that puts their money through there, does PayPal have a responsibility as a private company to carry a company that does things they find morally reprehensible? Russell is basically arguing that private companies should be forced on some level to carry the payment to and from like a Holocaust denial website, for example.
System under construction is enormous. It's boundless. The same companies that can track your activities and give you corporate rewards for compliant behaviour could utilise their powers to block transactions, add surcharges, or restrict your use of products. At what point does free speech make someone a target in this new system? Well, I'll leave it for you to discuss in...
All right, and this is, well, just by the way, and sign up for my shit and da-da-da. Anyways, I'm done. I'm sick of talking about it, really. Why would we even bother? Okay, let me wrap this up, if I may. There were similar fear-mongering practices around the introduction of the personal computer, the automobile. The Jesuits thought it was a mistake for everyone to learn to read because they were concerned that they would misuse that ability and read the wrong stuff. That's been around for fucking ever. And yet, the introduction of the written word spun right along, and now you can get between Apple Books and Scribed and any corner of the fucking internet, you can read any book that was ever published ever for free. That's where we are in the great control that the government is looking for. And in countries that pride themselves on that freedom, it hardly behooves themselves to draw a line between themselves and autocracies and then behave like them. It is one of the defining characteristics between them. It's why we change who runs our countries on the regular. So I mean, we know that Russell fearmongers for a fucking living. This is no surprise to anybody. If you look at, well, here we go. Let me try and get, yeah, here you go. We'll just pull up. If you just look at his fucking page, your blood is being sucked out and sold to China. Episode 24 of Stay Free. The Great Reset will happen with Eckhart Tolle. No, it won't. So he had Jocko Willink on, and I watched this one. It didn't go the way Russell thought it was going to go. Kudos to Jocko Willink for speaking truth to power when it came to Russell. Because he says, let me see if this is the same clip. I think it probably is.
It's all on the ballot. Make your voice heard. Vote
Agreed.
for Catherine Cortez Masto.
Okay, so
can I drag you back into the minutiae, right? One of the things they said around the Nord Stream 2 pipeline is it wouldn't be possible that, like, America don't have the submersive capacity.
By the way, no one ever said America doesn't have the capacity to blow up the Nord Stream pipelines. Like, fucking no one. Of course they do. And so what this is a leading false question. So he knows that Jocko Willink will say, of course we have the ability to do it. And he'll go, aha!
But in
this fake person that I've made up in my mind that will tell me that it wasn't possible. It is possible, and that means they're hiding something.
Truth would America, I think it's in the Baltic Sea at a level of 200 feet. Purely hypothetically, would it be possible for a special forces team to undertake the sabotage of a pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
See how he laughs at it? Because he sets up this idea that he's been told a lie, and therefore Jocko Willink just showed him that it was a lie, which nothing of the sort ever happened. Like, that's just garbage. He's just making that shit up. But wait, watch. Jocko's very smart. Watch what he says, and it you can tell this is rather disappointing. Again, this is a bit of a cheat because I watched this one.
Yeah. Did you have to?
He also doesn't know why Russell is laughing.
Do stuff like that, explosives under the water. That's sort of Navy SEALs all day long, isn't it?
Yeah, all day long. That's all they do. They just blow stuff up. They just kill whales. They just destroy pipelines for a living. It's all day long. That's what the Navy SEALs do.
I mean, it probably would have been some kind of an unmanned drone, an underwater drone that would do something like that. Why would you send a diver down there when you could send a robot?
Or a pig. That's right. A pipeline investigation or inspection gauge.
Right. You can do that relatively easily. Thank you.
Yeah, so can Russia. So can China. So can Iran, apparently.
No risk.
Do you become cynical about those kind of do you become cynical about the way that these things are covered and reported, having a degree of understanding around how this stuff actually works?
I guess the only thing that I find, and when I see you, when I see what you post about as well, I think it's just people get stuck into one digital ecosystem in their brain, and depending on what side you're on, you either only listen to this ecosystem or you listen to this ecosystem, and there's not too many outlets that are sort of just trying to keep an open mind and listen to both sides of a story and just try and find out what the truth is. So that's what I think. And I think people in social media go crazy about things that based on some assumption or based on the ecosystem that they're living in. So I think that's pretty.
By the way, completely reasonable recognition of the problem. Like he's not feeding anything. It's like that's completely reasonable.
Unfortunate. I'm not sure what's going to get us out of that, but it's pretty sad to see people that are so sucked into one methodology of thinking that you can't even really have a conversation with them. I know I have friends that are one extreme or another extreme, and it's hard to talk to them sometimes because they just don't, their mind is so closed off to hearing any other points of view. It can be very challenging to.
And by the way, you guys have seen me go through a couple of thorny issues on this show where I did not necessarily toe the line, but try to, inform you guys based on the reality. And I know exactly what he's talking about. It's tough sometimes because some people just don't want to hear it. And the thing is, if you could just hear the reality in a certain circumstance, even if it goes against the narrative you particularly believe, or even something ethically or principally that you believe or feel, and it feels like an affront to that, once you can move beyond the fact that it actually isn't, that it's not the argument you think it is, you can move on to the ones that are and solve the actual problems instead of the artificial ones put in front of you, which would be the things that are ultimately a distraction.
Even have a discussion with them, and it's better just to not talk about it because, if you're my friend Russell and you're freaked out about something, and I say, well, there's another possible viewpoint, and you just get mad and started, yelling at me, then maybe I'll just talk about something else. How about the football game? Let's talk about that instead. So I think our.
By the way, he's not friends with Russell. He's speaking he's making an analogy.
Media is definitely a problem.
But I wonder if China and Russia indeed have expansionist goals of that nature. And it's pretty clear that the United States, or at least the set of interests represented by the United States government, do have an expansionist agenda that is, causing, in my view, unnecessary suffering.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because if America had a true expansionist agenda, we would have taken over the entire world, after World War II, but we didn't. So I don't know that that's the case, or maybe there's a group of people that want to expand. I think I think China may look to expand. I mean, when you look at what they're doing inside their culture, it certainly seems evident that they're looking to expand. Obviously, Russia's trying to expand because they just invaded Ukraine. So there's some expansionist going on there.
Wait, this is the part I love. Wait, listen to this part.
I don't think that America, I actually don't think that America has an expansionist mindset, because like I said, otherwise we would have expanded. We would have taken over everything, and we didn't. In fact, we nurtured Japan back to health. We nurtured Germany back to health, where they could have their own country. Mm-hmm. That's what we've done in these wars. So I don't really think that's a piece of it. But going to something else that you said, what's scary is, you're saying, hey, with these wars that have taken place, it seems like we should have some kind of a massive social awakening. If World War I didn't trigger a massive social awakening to never have a war again, then I have no idea what it's going to take, Russell, because it wasn't, 20 years later that World War II was kicking off. This is after millions and millions of men were slaughtered for nothing. And yet you fast forward a few years and we were in World War II. So I don't know what kind of social awakening we could hope for.
You have to understand, Jocko, he's selling the social awakening TM to his viewers as a possibility so that he can scratch them up. You understand?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. If World War I didn't do it,
yeah, it's a good point. Jet says in the chat, what about Iraq and Afghanistan? We would have just kept them. Exactly. Like Trump was saying we should keep the oil, and the rest of us in the United States were like, fuck that. What are you talking about? No. Trump was was going to stay in Afghanistan. Like I said, I watched that whole clip. If you want to watch it, you can do so. But I thought it was an excellent point that kind of blows a hole in Russell's entire sales pitch, because he was like, I think China and Russia are just doing their thing, trying to just be left alone in the world, and yet the Americans are like trying to grab everything and imperialism and imperialism. And you're like, motherfucker, we haven't even made Puerto Rico a state yet. The fuck are you talking about? Yeah, it's so goofy. But again, if your racket's going to be hippie Alex Jones, and Alex getting a little old and pointy headed, and he's not going to be able to turn this thing into into it. And by the way, Jet, thanks for these are the ones. Thank you. You were absolutely right, and they're great. And also, it's important to understand that the Russell Brands of the world are going to keep selling this point for as long as they can, as hard as they can, but it's a dead end. Because, as I've said before, a level of optimistic stoicism is necessary in life for any success at all. You do not go to the gym or eat right or get married or start a relationship or raise a child unless you think the tomorrow's going to be slightly better and you're going to participate in making it that way. And the folks that are selling the, the doom and gloom, hide in your fucking bunker, or the they, them, the big them is coming for you, those folks it's a scam. They absolutely wouldn't be there if they didn't think they were going to be there tomorrow. If they believed any of that shit, they wouldn't be there. They would be on a fucking pineapple farm like Jim Jones. It's a lie. Russell is selling the threat while living comfortably in the nest that it feathers. Same with Glenn Beck. Same with Ben Shapiro. I mean, look at Jordan Peterson's new talk show, like Comfort Incorporated in the middle of hell. No, just like, it's like there's just a big hell cow that they're all milking. So to me, the focus will be on like looking at the stuff so you guys know what the arguments are, know what what the other side is hearing and where their arguments are coming from, where the little weird thoughts and arguments and bullshit, where they start and then they work their way up the right-wing ecosystem and they get out onto the airwaves on Fox and other shit like that. I'll show you where it starts on this show. And I'll show you who's saying it in its purest form so you know exactly where it's going when somebody starts dipping their toe in about it. But I'm also going to let you know that you have nothing to fear from these fuckers. Go about your lives, vote, participate in society, and even when they win, they lose because it's their entire economy is predicated on economic and spiritual victimhood. They don't do well when things are going well. They have no meaning. The rest of us do. And so I'm going to keep reminding you of that. And I love you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the Thursday afternoon show. Again, it's later than usual. You know this. The afternoon show is on an hour later than normal. Appreciate you guys. Fear the Republican Party? I will not, Chris. I do not fear the Republican Party at all. I don't. Because fear is one of the things that they will talk you into. It will give them legitimacy. Your fear means there's something really there, that they are a boogeyman. I must be a boogeyman if you're afraid of me. That's why I never get angry in my language with Trump. I am always fucking with him because anger, fear, distrust, hatred, dude absorbs those things. It's proof that what he's doing is working. But mockery, derision, and disregard is absolutely what flattens his tires. We have nothing to fear, including fear itself. And remember, and I built this, hold on, did I put it in here? Hold on, I've got to put this, it's got to be in here, hold on. I might as well add it while I'm here, the thing I added during my break. Add to, where you go? Add it to there. Cool, we'll go back to here. I'm going to make this gigantic. Hold on. Remember, it is an election season. And if you are presented with a choice that you believe is the lesser of two evils, it's fucking easy. Choose less evil. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Okay, bye. Vote blue no matter who, baby. That's right.
right now, guys.